All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to look past the usual stuff, the products, the profits, the press releases, to get to the real engine of any company, the one thing that truly decides if it succeeds or fails.
So let me start by asking you a question. What do you think is a company's most valuable asset? Is it their brand, their secret formula? What if I told you that it's also the most complicated and the most unpredictable part of the entire business?
Yup, it's the people. Every single person, from the brand new intern all the way up to the CEO. They all form this living, breathing ecosystem that honestly determines everything. And that's exactly what we're digging into. You know, the whole science and art of figuring out this people puzzle. It really comes down to two big ideas. Organizational behavior, which is all about how people act at work, and human resource management, which is about how we can best support and manage them. To really make sense of all this, we're going to take a little journey. We're going to start small, at the level of the individual. Then we'll zoom out a bit to see what happens when those individuals get together and form groups. And finally, we'll pull the camera all the way back to look at the entire organization they're all a part of. Sound good? Let's go.
Okay, so first stop, the most basic building block of any workplace is you, the individual.
See, nobody just shows up to work as a blank slate. Your behavior isn't random. Every single day you walk in with this unique psychological toolkit that's been built up over your whole life. And understanding that toolkit is really the first step to understanding everything else.
So what's in this toolkit? Well, it's got a few key parts. First, there's your personality. That's your pretty consistent way of thinking and acting. Then you've got perception, the unique filter you see the world through. Your core values are like your internal compass, telling you what's important. And of course, your attitude, which shapes how you feel about your job, your boss, your coworkers on any given day. All these pieces are working together all the time.
Now, a huge piece of this whole puzzle is motivation. What actually gets you going? Are you driven intrinsically, by a genuine love for the work itself? Or is it more extrinsic, things like a good salary or getting praise? Just think about the people who edit Wikipedia for free. They're not getting a paycheck. They're driven by this internal desire to share knowledge. For most of us, it's a mix of both, and figuring out that balance is absolutely key for performance.
Okay, so that's the individual. But here's where things get really interesting, because people almost never work totally alone. We form teams, we form groups, and when we do that, something totally new happens.
A team isn't just 5 people with their individual toolkits sitting in a meeting room. No way. It becomes its own thing, a new entity that has its own personality, its own momentum, its own set of unwritten rules.
And there's a name for this. It's called group dynamics. The best way to think about it is like an invisible current in the water. It's this collection of psychological forces that can either pull a team toward amazing success or drag it down into conflict and failure. And the crazy part is, it's always there, whether you realize it or not.
So, how in the world do you steer that current in the right direction? Well, it usually comes down to a few really important things. Is the leadership clear and effective? Are you actually doing things to build trust and connection? And maybe most importantly, how are people actually talking to each other? Get those right, and the group has a real shot at thriving. All right, it's time to zoom out one last time. Because all of these individuals and all of these groups, they don't exist in some kind of bubble. They're all operating inside a much, much bigger environment, the organization itself. And just like a person, every single company has a personality, and that's what we call its culture. It's the collection of shared values, beliefs, and assumptions that tell everyone how to act. It's basically the way we do things around here, especially when nobody's watching. And this slide points out a really important difference. Culture is the deep stuff, the stable foundation. It's the why behind what you do. Climate, on the other hand, is more like the mood in the room right now. It's how it feels to work there day to day. You can have a really great, strong culture, but be going through a tough time with a bad climate, and vice versa. You can't really talk about a healthy culture these days without talking about diversity. And it's not just about being fair, it's about getting better results. When you have a team full of different perspectives, different values, different ideas, the whole ecosystem just gets richer and stronger. So you've got all this complexity, right? Individuals, groups, culture. It's a lot of moving parts. So whose job is it to actually look after this whole ecosystem? Who are the gardeners for all these people? Well, that's where human resource management, or HRM, comes in. And try to forget the old idea of HR being just about paperwork and policies. A good modern HR department is really a strategic steward, responsible for taking care of the company's most valuable asset, its people, from the day they start to the day they leave.
They oversee what's called the employee life cycle. It's a journey that starts with finding and hiring the absolute best people. From there, it's all about getting them set up for success with great training, making sure they're paid fairly, and, crucially, helping them grow and develop their skills for whatever comes next.
And that leads us to one final thought to leave you with. I mean, the world of work is changing incredibly fast. Teams are more spread out than ever. AI is doing more and more. The very fabric of this human ecosystem is evolving right before our eyes. So the question we're all facing is this: what are the new rules for helping people and the amazing organizations they build truly thrive in the future?